Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. William W. Lee. You've probably heard that cottage cheese is one of the best foods for building muscle. But what if I told you there's a food that does even better? A food that not only supports lean muscle growth, but also helps reverse one of the most dangerous effects of aging sarcopenia or age-related muscle loss. This isn't a supplement. It's not a protein powder. It's real food backed by science, and it works faster than you might think. So before you reach for that tub of cottage cheese, let's talk about the food your muscles are truly craving. Leucine is one of the most powerful amino acids your body can use to trigger muscle growth. In fact, it acts almost like a switch that turns on muscle protein synthesis, the process by which your body repairs and builds new muscle fibers. While cottage cheese does contain leucine, the amount and bioavailability can vary depending on processing and quality. The food I'm referring to, wild salmon, is naturally rich in leucine and delivers it in a form your body can absorb and utilize more efficiently. When you eat salmon, you're not just feeding your muscles, you're activating them at a cellular level. Leucine sends a signal to a key pathway in the body called mTOR, or mechanistic target of rapamycin, which tells muscle cells it's time to grow and repair. For someone concerned about muscle loss, especially with aging, this pathway is absolutely essential. As we get older, our body's ability to use dietary protein efficiently declines. That's one of the main reasons people experience sarcopenia. The muscles simply stop responding as strongly to the protein we eat. But leucine is different. It's what we call a threshold amino acid, meaning that once you get enough of it, it can overcome this resistance and reactivate muscle building. Studies have shown that meals containing higher leucine content, about 2 to 3 grams per serving, can stimulate muscle protein synthesis in older adults almost as effectively as in younger people. Wild salmon naturally provides this optimal leucine dose in a delicious whole food package that also brings additional nutrients like omega-3s, vitamin D, and high-quality protein. When you consume leucine-rich foods, it's not just about growing muscle mass for appearance. It's about maintaining strength, balance, and independence, things that matter most as we age. Sarcopenia isn't just about shrinking muscles. It's about losing the ability to move freely, to lift, to climb stairs, even to recover from illness or injury. In hospital settings, muscle loss is one of the biggest predictors of poor outcomes after surgery or infection. So when we talk about leucine and muscle growth, we're really talking about extending health span, the number of years you can live not just longer, but stronger. Now, here's where leucine does something even more interesting. It doesn't work in isolation. When it comes from a natural source like salmon, it interacts with other nutrients that enhance its effect. For example, the omega-3 fatty acids in salmon reduce inflammation within muscle tissue, which allows leucine to do its job more effectively. Chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the reasons muscle building slows down with age. By lowering that inflammation, omega-3s create a better internal environment for leucine to activate muscle repair. So when you eat salmon, you're not just getting leucine, you're getting a synergistic nutrient combination that accelerates recovery and growth. Another reason leucine from salmon is superior to dairy-based sources is digestibility and absorption. As we age, our stomach acid and digestive enzymes decline, making it harder to break down casein protein in cottage cheese. Salmon protein, on the other hand, is more easily digested and absorbed, meaning more leucine reaches your bloodstream faster. This rapid delivery is crucial after exercise or even after routine daily activity, when your muscles are most primed to repair themselves. There's also an important metabolic side effect of leucine worth mentioning. Beyond its role in building muscle, leucine helps regulate blood sugar by influencing how the body uses glucose. It improves insulin sensitivity, which is vital for both energy management and reducing the risk of metabolic diseases. When your muscles are healthy and active, they act like a sponge for glucose, helping keep blood sugar steady. Leucine helps keep that system working efficiently. In clinical research, participants who increased their leucine intake through fish-based protein sources showed significant improvements in muscle mass and strength compared to those consuming equivalent protein from dairy. That's because leucine's impact is amplified when it comes in a complete nutrient context, high-quality protein, anti-inflammatory fats, and essential vitamins, all of which you find in wild salmon. This makes it one of the most effective foods for preventing and even reversing sarcopenia. Leucine also plays a role in protecting mitochondria, the energy factories inside your cells. Healthy mitochondria mean your muscles have more stamina, less fatigue, and greater endurance. In older adults, mitochondrial decline is one of the earliest signs of muscle aging. Leucine helps preserve mitochondrial function, essentially keeping your muscles younger at the cellular level. When combined with regular movement, such as walking or light resistance training, the effects multiply. Your muscles become more responsive, stronger, and more efficient at using energy. Another fascinating aspect of leucine is its ability to signal to satellite cells, the stem cells of your muscles. These cells lie dormant until they're activated by signals like leucine. Once activated, they fuse with muscle fibers to repair and reinforce them. This is how muscles adapt to stress, recover from injury, and grow stronger over time. Without enough leucine, those satellite cells remain idle, and your muscles slowly weaken, even if you're eating plenty of protein overall. So while cottage cheese may have once been the go-to food for bodybuilders, modern nutrition science has revealed a more powerful, more complete alternative in leucine-rich foods like wild salmon. It's a food that doesn't just feed your muscles. It communicates with them, sending precise biochemical signals to preserve strength, boost recovery, and reverse the trajectory of sarcopenia. Every bite of salmon delivers not only high-quality protein, but also the exact amino acid message your body needs to maintain vitality. That's why leucine stands out as one of the most potent natural tools for muscle health, and why choosing the right source makes all the difference. Omega-3 fatty acids are one of the most remarkable nutrients for maintaining and rebuilding muscle, especially as we age. When most people think of omega-3s, they immediately associate them with heart health or brain function, but few realize how essential they are for protecting and strengthening muscle tissue. Muscle is not just a mechanical structure for movement. It's a living, dynamic organ that responds to inflammation, diet, and metabolism. Chronic low-grade inflammation, which increases naturally with age, is one of the primary drivers of sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength. Omega-3s directly target that inflammation, creating an internal environment where muscles can heal, rebuild, and grow more efficiently. The body constantly breaks down and rebuilds muscle tissue in a process called muscle protein turnover. In younger people, this process is balanced, but with age, inflammation tips the scale toward more breakdown and less rebuilding. This imbalance accelerates muscle loss. Omega-3s, particularly EPA and DHA found abundantly in wild salmon, restore balance by reducing the inflammatory signals that interfere with protein synthesis. When these omega-3s are incorporated into muscle cell membranes, they make those membranes more fluid and responsive, allowing nutrients and growth signals to enter the cell more easily. This simple change at the cellular level enhances the body's ability to synthesize new muscle proteins in response to both diet and exercise. Another powerful effect of omega-3s is their ability to improve the sensitivity of muscle cells to insulin and amino acids. As we age, the body often becomes less responsive to these anabolic signals. That means even when we eat enough protein, our muscles don't react as strongly as they once did. Omega-3s help resensitize the muscle tissue, essentially waking it up again. This is one of the reasons older adults who consume fish rich in omega-3s tend to have better muscle mass, strength, and physical performance than those who don't. They're not necessarily eating more protein, they're just using it more effectively. Omega-3s also have an extraordinary influence on blood flow to muscles. They improve endothelial function, which is how well the lining of your blood vessels can expand and contract. Healthy blood vessels deliver oxygen and nutrients to muscle tissue efficiently, supporting recovery after physical activity. When blood flow improves, the delivery of amino acids like leucine and other key nutrients increases, leading to more efficient muscle repair. This is particularly important after exercise injury or illness, times when muscles are under stress and require more nutrients to rebuild. Inflammation is often misunderstood as something the body must eliminate completely. In reality, inflammation is a natural response that helps the body repair damage. The problem arises when it becomes chronic. Omega-3s don't just suppress inflammation, They regulate it. They help the body resolve inflammation naturally by producing molecules called resolvins and protectins, which signal the body to stop the inflammatory process once healing is underway. This resolution phase is critical for muscle recovery because lingering inflammation interferes with muscle growth and accelerates the loss of muscle fibers. Omega-3s guide the body to complete the healing cycle efficiently and cleanly. At a molecular level, omega-3s influence gene expression in muscle tissue. They can upregulate genes involved in protein synthesis and mitochondrial function while downregulating genes that promote inflammation and degradation. This shift in genetic activity essentially reprograms muscle tissue to stay youthful and metabolically active. In studies where older adults supplemented their diet with omega-3s, researchers found a measurable increase in muscle volume and function, even without significant changes in exercise routines. That's a remarkable finding, suggesting omega-3s act almost like a nutritional signal telling muscles to resist aging. One of the less appreciated benefits of omega-3s for muscle health is their ability to protect against oxidative stress. Every time muscle tissue contracts, it generates free radicals. Normally, the body neutralizes these molecules, but with age and chronic inflammation, that system becomes less efficient. Excessive oxidative damages muscle fibers, mitochondria, and even DNA. Omega-3 strengthen the body's antioxidant defenses, stabilizing cell membranes and reducing oxidative damage. This not only preserves existing muscle fibers, but also ensures that newly formed ones remain strong and functional. Omega-3s also interact beautifully with physical activity. Exercise naturally produces mild inflammation and oxidative stress, which signals muscles to adapt and grow stronger. When you have a steady supply of omega-3s, your body manages this stress more effectively, accelerating recovery and amplifying the benefits of each workout. Research has shown that people who consume more omega-3s experience less post-exercise soreness, faster muscle repair, and improved endurance. It's as though the body becomes more efficient at transforming effort into strength. Another fascinating aspect is how omega-3s impact the nervous system's connection to muscle tissue. As people age, the communication between nerves and muscles, called neuromuscular junctions, can deteriorate. This weakens coordination and response time, contributing to the frailty often seen in older adults. Omega-3s support the structural integrity of these junctions, helping nerve signals reach muscles quickly and accurately. That translates to better balance, reaction time, and motor control, all of which are critical for maintaining independence and preventing falls. From a broader health perspective, omega-3s help lower systemic inflammation markers like C-reactive protein and interleukin-6. These inflammatory molecules are not only linked to heart disease and arthritis, but also directly contribute to muscle breakdown. By lowering these markers, omega-3s create a ripple effect across the entire body, protecting not only muscle tissue, but also joints, brain cells, and blood vessels. This comprehensive anti-inflammatory action is what makes omega-3s so unique. They don't just act locally in muscle tissue, they create a whole body environment conducive to strength and resilience. Omega-3s even influence how your body stores and uses fat. They increase the activity of enzymes that promote fat burning, providing muscles with a steady source of clean energy. This helps reduce excess fat that can interfere with muscle metabolism and insulin sensitivity. In other words, omega-3s help shift the body's metabolic priorities away from fat storage and toward muscle preservation. Taken together, omega-3s are not simply nutrients. They are biological modulators that fine-tune the body's systems for optimal muscle function. They help calm inflammation, improve nutrient delivery, enhance energy metabolism, and protect against cellular damage. When combined with leucine-rich protein sources like wild salmon, the results are synergistic. The omega-3s prepare the muscle to respond better, while the leucine triggers the actual building process. It's a natural, powerful partnership that gives the body what it needs to resist sarcopenia and sustain strength throughout life. The connection between gut health and muscle health is far more profound than most people realize. Inside the human gut lives a vast community of microorganisms collectively known as the gut microbiome. These bacteria, fungi, and other microbes don't just influence digestion. They play a vital role in regulating metabolism, inflammation, and even how efficiently the body maintains and repairs muscle tissue. The food you eat can directly shape this microbial ecosystem, and in turn, your gut microbes can either protect your muscles or quietly contribute to their decline. When we talk about foods that boost muscle and fight sarcopenia, we must consider how they support the microbiome. Salmon, for example, doesn't just provide protein and omega-3s, it also nourishes the beneficial bacteria that create compounds protecting muscle fibers and reducing inflammation throughout the body. Your gut microbes communicate constantly with your muscles through what scientists call the gut-muscle axis. This is a two-way system where signals from the gut affect muscle metabolism and vice versa. When the gut is balanced and diverse, it produces metabolites like short-chain fatty acids or SCFAs such as butyrate acetate and propionate. These molecules act like chemical messengers that tell muscle tissue to reduce inflammation, increase energy production, and maintain protein synthesis. Butyrate, in particular, helps preserve muscle mass by suppressing genes that trigger muscle breakdown. It also strengthens the intestinal barrier, preventing harmful substances from leaking into the bloodstream, a condition known as leaky gut, which is known to accelerate systemic inflammation and muscle wasting. As we age, the diversity of our gut microbiome tends to decline, often due to dietary changes, reduced fiber intake, medications, and stress. This loss of diversity leads to fewer beneficial metabolites and more harmful byproducts, such as endotoxins, that can circulate through the blood and trigger chronic inflammation. This inflammatory state interferes with muscle regeneration and increases the rate of muscle loss. However, research shows that eating anti-inflammatory, nutrient-rich foods like wild salmon can help restore microbial balance. The omega-3 fatty acids in salmon actually feed specific strains of bacteria that produce SCFAs, particularly butyrate-producing bacteria like Faecalibacterium prosnitzi and S. roseberia. As these microbes flourish, they create a more anti-inflammatory environment in the gut, which translates to stronger, healthier muscle tissue. In addition to their direct anti-inflammatory effects, omega-3 has influenced the gut microbiome by improving the composition of the mucosal lining, the protective layer that separates gut bacteria from the immune system. A healthy mucosal layer prevents unnecessary immune activation, which otherwise contributes to chronic low-grade inflammation, a key factor in sarcopenia. When the mucosal barrier is intact and functioning well, the immune system remains calm, allowing the body to focus on maintaining muscle repair and energy balance. Omega-3s combined with high-quality protein from fish create an ideal combination for sustaining both gut and muscle health. Another fascinating aspect of the gut-muscle connection is how gut bacteria help regulate the availability of amino acids, the building blocks of muscle. Certain bacterial strains can synthesize or recycle amino acids, ensuring a steady supply even when dietary intake fluctuates. They can also enhance the absorption of key nutrients such as vitamin D, magnesium, and B vitamins, which are essential for muscle function. When the microbiome is compromised, nutrient absorption declines and muscles lose access to the raw materials they need for repair and growth. By supporting beneficial microbes through diet, you can indirectly improve nutrient uptake and muscle metabolism without increasing caloric intake. Gut bacteria also have an influence on hormones that affect muscle health. For instance, they regulate the production of insulin, like growth factor 1's IGF-1, a hormone that promotes muscle protein synthesis. Studies show that people with a healthier gut microbiome tend to have higher IGF-1 activity, which translates to better muscle maintenance and strength. Similarly, the gut affects cortisol levels, a stress hormone that, when chronically elevated, breaks down muscle tissue. A balanced microbiome helps keep cortisol in check by reducing systemic stress responses. In this way, the microbes in your intestines help fine-tune the hormonal environment for optimal muscle preservation. An unhealthy gut, on the other hand, can trigger a cascade of problems that accelerate muscle loss. Dysbiosis, which means an imbalance between good and bad bacteria, leads to increased intestinal permeability, allowing bacterial toxins to leak into the bloodstream. These toxins activate immune cells and release cytokines, molecules that promote inflammation. Once this inflammation becomes chronic, it begins to interfere with the mTR pathway, the very same pathway leucine activates for muscle growth. In essence, an imbalanced gut can block the body's natural muscle-building mechanisms no matter how much protein or leucine you consume. That's why restoring microbial balance is essential for any long-term strategy to fight sarcopenia. Interestingly, studies in both humans and animals have shown that supplementing with omega-3s can reshape the microbiome in ways that favor muscle health. After consistent intake, participants not only experienced reduced inflammation but also improved muscle strength and mass. The reason is that the beneficial bacteria fed by omega-3s produce molecules that directly signal muscle cells to increase protein synthesis and reduce oxidative stress. This demonstrates how nutrition works on multiple levels. The food supports the microbes, and the microbes, in turn, support the muscles. In addition to omega-3s, the high-quality protein in salmon also benefits gut bacteria. Unlike heavily processed proteins, fish protein breaks down into peptides that feed certain bacterial strains associated with gut integrity and metabolism. These peptides act like prebiotics, compounds that stimulate the growth of beneficial microbes. Over time, this strengthens the gut barrier and reduces inflammation, allowing your body to focus on maintaining lean muscle tissue. It's a positive feedback loop. The healthier your gut becomes, the better your muscles function, and the stronger your body grows overall. The microbiome also influences how efficiently the body burns energy and stores fat. A balanced gut encourages metabolic flexibility, the ability to switch smoothly between burning carbohydrates and fats for energy. This is crucial for maintaining muscle endurance and preventing fatigue. Some of the SCFAs produced by gut bacteria even serve as a direct energy source for muscles, particularly during periods of rest or fasting. By keeping these bacterial populations thriving, you ensure a consistent supply of clean energy to muscle tissue without relying on excess calories. In the bigger picture, the relationship between the gut and muscles is one of partnership. The foods you eat determine which microbes flourish, and those microbes, in turn, determine how your body uses nutrients, fights inflammation, and preserves strength. When your diet includes foods like wild salmon, rich in omega-3s, high-quality protein, and supportive of beneficial gut bacteria, you are feeding both your microbiome and your muscles. The result is not just stronger muscles, but a healthier, more resilient body that can resist the decline often associated with aging. One of the most convincing aspects of modern nutrition science is that we now have clinical evidence showing that certain foods can actively reverse age-related muscle loss. For years, sarcopenia was seen as an unavoidable part of getting older, something that simply happened no matter how well you ate or how active you were. But research over the past decade has proven otherwise. Scientists have discovered that specific nutrients, when delivered through natural foods like wild salmon, can stimulate muscle regeneration, improve strength, and restore function in people who have already begun to lose muscle mass. This isn't theory anymore. It's been measured in controlled human studies using imaging, biomarkers, and functional tests. The results are clear. Diet can be a powerful therapy against muscle decline, and certain foods outperform traditional protein sources like cottage cheese by working on multiple biological systems at once. In one clinical study involving older adults who consumed omega-3 rich fish regularly, researchers found a significant increase in muscle volume and function compared to a control group. What's remarkable is that these improvements occurred without any major changes in exercise routines or caloric intake. The omega-3s in fish appeared to sensitize muscle cells to protein, allowing the body to use dietary amino acids more efficiently for repair and growth. This means that the participants' muscles responded as if they were younger, more anabolic, and more resilient. The improvements were not just cosmetic. Participants showed measurable gains in grip strength, walking speed, and balance, all critical indicators of longevity and independence. The clinical benefits go beyond muscle size. Sarcopenia is closely linked to inflammation, oxidative stress, and mitochondrial decline, all of which increase with age. In studies where participants added omega-3 rich foods like salmon to their diets, markers of inflammation such as C-reactive protein and interleukin-6 dropped dramatically. Lower inflammation allowed muscles to recover faster from daily wear and tear, while the omega-3s helped restore mitochondrial function, the energy engines inside muscle cells. Improved mitochondrial efficiency means that muscle fibers can generate more power with less fatigue. In practical terms, that translates to stronger legs, better posture, and more endurance in everyday tasks. Another layer of evidence comes from research examining how diet affects gene expression in muscle tissue. Scientists have shown that omega-3 fatty acids and high-quality fish proteins can activate genes that promote muscle building while silencing those that drive muscle breakdown. When participants included these foods in their meals for just a few weeks, muscle biopsies revealed higher activity of anabolic genes and lower activity of catabolic ones. This shift essentially reprograms aging muscle to behave more like youthful tissue. It's as if the nutritional components in the fish are sending a message to the body: build up, don't break down. Vitamin D, another nutrient found naturally in salmon, also plays a clinical role in this reversal. Low vitamin D levels are strongly associated with sarcopenia, frailty, and falls in older adults. Clinical trials have shown that restoring vitamin D through diet improves muscle fiber size and strength, particularly in the lower body. Salmon offers a natural and bioavailable source of vitamin D, providing an advantage that supplements alone sometimes fail to achieve. When combined with omega-3s and leucine-rich protein, the effects multiply. These nutrients work together, supporting not just muscle tissue, but the entire metabolic network that governs repair and recovery. One of the most striking findings in this area of research is that improvements in muscle health often appear within weeks, not months or years. In one randomized controlled trial, older adults who added just 2 servings of salmon per week showed measurable improvements in muscle protein synthesis within 8 weeks. This rapid response suggests that the body remains capable of healing itself, even after years of gradual decline, as long as it receives the right biological signals from food. The implication is both hopeful and empowering. Muscle aging is not irreversible, and you can influence it with every meal. Clinical imaging studies using MRI and DXA scans have confirmed these outcomes visually. Participants who regularly consumed fish high in omega-3s showed not only increased muscle mass, but also better muscle quality. That means their muscle fibers contained less fat infiltration, which is a common problem with aging and a key driver of weakness. Leaner, more efficient muscle tissue translates into better functional performance and lower risk of falls or fractures. It's not just about adding weight, it's about restoring strength and vitality from the inside out. Researchers have also observed improvements in physical performance tests. Participants who consumed fish or omega-3 supplements derived from marine sources demonstrated faster walking speeds, greater leg power, and improved ability to rise from a seated position. These are not trivial findings. They represent the difference between living independently and needing daily assistance. Maintaining these basic functions is one of the most critical aspects of healthy aging, and clinical data consistently show that dietary interventions can make a measurable difference. There's also evidence that the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties of salmon's nutrients help preserve the health of the connective tissue surrounding muscles. Tendons and ligaments often weaken with age, contributing to stiffness and reduced mobility. By protecting these tissues from oxidative damage, omega-3s and related compounds keep muscles more flexible and resilient. This not only prevents injury, but also improves coordination and balance, 2 abilities that typically deteriorate alongside muscle mass. Another key clinical finding involves recovery after illness or surgery. Older adults who consume omega-3 rich foods recover muscle strength more rapidly following hospitalization. This is crucial because hospital stays often lead to rapid muscle loss due to inactivity and inflammation. When the diet includes nutrients that promote protein synthesis and reduce inflammatory damage, recovery becomes faster and more complete. In medical terms, it improves what's known as functional recovery, the ability to return to normal life activities after physical stress. What makes all this evidence particularly compelling is that it demonstrates real-world outcomes. We're not just talking about changes in laboratory numbers. We're seeing people move better, feel stronger, and live longer with improved quality of life. Clinical nutrition is proving that food can act as a form of medicine, capable of reversing physiological decline. When older adults include the right combination of proteins, omega-3s, and micronutrients, especially from whole foods like salmon, they are effectively giving their bodies the tools to rebuild what time has worn down. Across multiple studies, the consistent pattern is clear. Regular intake of nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory foods like salmon leads to improvements in muscle mass, function, and metabolic health. The effects are measurable, reproducible, and biologically meaningful. For decades, the medical community assumed that sarcopenia could only be slowed, not reversed. Now we know better. The science shows that with the right diet, Muscle loss can be turned back, strength can be regained, and vitality can be restored. It's not about stopping aging, it's about optimizing how we age, using the healing power of food to preserve independence, energy, and quality of life.